I'm about to break down for you exactly how I run my days to run a team of over 250 people doing over $5 million a year in revenue. So if you're an entrepreneur looking how to theme your days, how to build your calendar, and how to scale to multiple millions of dollars per year, this is the YouTube video for you. So as you guys know, I do a Q&A show once a month or so, and I think it's valuable. I usually will throw away a question and answer thing up on my Instagram story, answer a few of them on there. But for most of the time, to be honest with you, it's really to get ideas and questions for these shows. So first thing first, the number one thing I want to tackle today, and a really good question I got was, what's the amount of money that's the most significant to feeling financially stable, financially free? When do you feel the richest? And to me, no number ever feels the richest. No number ever feels, I guess, more powerful and more confidence building and cooler than that first month you make $10,000. To me, that first month you make $10,000, especially if it's your own venture, it's your own business, and you take that out of the business, is one of the coolest things to me. It's so cool to watch other people go through that. I remember myself vividly because I paid myself the first couple of years of my company 2, 4, 5. I remember the first month I paid myself $7,500. I was like, holy crap. I just paid myself $7,500 in a month for my business. And then that went to 10. And I think 10 is the first place where you really feel like, holy crap. And as you grow in your entrepreneurial journey, you get older, you realize it's not an insane amount of money. But that's always my answer is there's nothing feels as good as that first $10,000 you're able to pay yourself. Nah, nothing, in my opinion, right? 100,000 to me didn't feel the same. Seeing that number at one time didn't feel the same, so on and so forth. It just doesn't feel the same as that first month of $10,000 coming into your account. The confidence that builds, as well as it can build some other things like ego. But to me, that was the ground shaking moment. And the next question to me is, that I get in my DMs quite a bit is, asking, hey, how do I, what's the next step up from a wholesaling business? In my opinion, I think it depends on what you want. If you want a lifestyle business that pays you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, that's awesome. It's great. If you want to build a portfolio, go do that. But to me, once you build a wholesaling business, I think it's always worth to have some version of that running. Once you get good at it, I think it's always worth it to have some version of a wholesaling business running and in the background, at least to supplement whatever you want to do. Because whether you want to build homes, you want to flip homes, you want to develop homes, you want to build a portfolio, if you can source your own deals, it just creates so much more scalability and so much more practicality to it. So I think continue it on forever is very important. The question I always get is, what's the best marketing channel to start out with? And in my opinion, unless you are coming from a W-2 that's high paying or you have a ton of money saved up, in my opinion, the best way to start and get going on the marketing side of things is outbound marketing, because you can force conversations and you can force pipeline. And honestly, you need a lot of reps to get good at sales, to get good at lead management. You need a lot of reps to get good. And so I don't recommend going and spending 10 grand on a mail campaign, spending 10 grand on pay-per-click or any of these high dollar per lead marketing channels. Start with something like cold calling, and you can do it yourself or use a service like easybuttonleads.com and you grow it that way. Because at the end of the day, if you can force conversations predictably at a low lead cost, you can get your reps in. Eventually you'll build into other marketing channels. But at first you don't need to kill yourself in your bank right away. In my opinion, that's what I teach. I don't think there's a right or wrong way, but I teach starting with outbound marketing. I think it's the highest leverage way to get leads in the door, get reps up. And it's the least risky way, in my opinion, to create deal flow and lead flow early on to get reps in. That's a question I get all the time. Buyers. Every single time I post one of these Q&As, I always get a question along the lines of, hey, Cole, how do I get my first buyer? I think I have a deal. How do I find a buyer? And I'm not one of those guys that says, hey, if you have a deal, you'll find a buyer. My opinion is you go in, the best way for your first deal, right, is to be out there telling people what you do. And this is why I'm a big proponent of not like virtually wholesaling everywhere in the country, but actually having being in your backyard and going to events and meeting investors in person, because it's easiest to sell deals off personal relationships. If you have rapport, you have some kind of trust, credibility, and relationship with someone, it makes it way easier to get a deal done, to trust them, and to get a deal across the finish line. And in my opinion, that's just my opinion. Other ways, right? Facebook groups, right? Going in Facebook groups and finding emails and scraping those. I don't recommend mass blasting deals. Don't text and email a deal to the whole world when you first get it. I don't think that's a good practice to do. But really focus on relationships. The more you focus on relationships in this business, the better you do, the bigger your brand will get, and the more people will know who you are and what you do. Super important. So that's finding buyers. Let's talk about first marketing channel. First hire. First hire is a question I get. I recommend your first hire being some kind of executive level virtual assistant, $4, $5, $6, $7 an hour off something like Upwork.com. Yeah, what you can do there is you can find someone that's good at admin, list pulling, data stacking. They can do your calendar, your emails, text marketing, whatever you need them to do on an admin basis. A lot of times just getting admin waste off your plate, we call it, will help you scale your business very efficiently, very effectively, and very quickly, super quickly in a lot of cases. So I would definitely recommend having some kind of admin virtual assistant on staff for $4, $5, $6 an hour to take a lot of your admin work off the plate. Super important. You want to treat them like any other employee, but it's a great way to, one, get reps up, because delegation's a muscle you have to build, but also it helps you get a lot of stuff off your plate to focus on what's highest leverage, which for you is probably talking to sellers and talking to buyers and getting deals done. Next question is underwriting remote and getting deals locked up without going in person. What I teach, what we've done historically is when we're acquiring contracts off market to sell to investors, we don't ever go out in person most of the time. 90% of the time, we'll get a deal done over the phone via DocuSign, walk them through it via Zoom call or phone call, and then we'll go out and verify and get photos with our boots on the ground. But you don't need to go in person and sit in living rooms to get deals done. It works, but you don't have to do it that way. And that's the reality of the situation. Beyond that is understanding and really putting into practice, understanding negotiation over the phone. It's a skill you have to build. And in my opinion, that's the coolest part about this business, is it forces you to build skills that translate to money making the rest of your life, like negotiating over the phone, like negotiating contracts, things of that nature. And on the underwriting side, I don't know anything. My team doesn't know anything about what a roof costs, what a window costs. We just know average price per square foot, what it probably costs to fix a home. And I'll call a buddy who's a high volume flipper and just be like, hey man, like, what are you guys paying right now per square foot? We'll put that into our calculator. That's as simple as we keep underwriting. The better you get at underwriting, the easier the business is. But like, I don't know much about tactical nuances of real estate at all. And we've done hundreds of deals, hundreds of wholesale deals, right? Hundreds of deals where we're selling a piece of paper. Last one I'll end here is, in my opinion, is that I get quite a bit, is how I schedule my days, especially with teams and stuff. And I like to theme my days. And as a business owner, I think it's important that you kind of theme days off. So today's a Friday, and I'll kind of do this in reverse. So Fridays I film all day. So I don't take meetings Friday. Fridays are my day to clean up, to film, and then my afternoons I'll clean up the week. So I'll get through emails, through Slack messages. I'll send out memos to end of the week to my team of priorities heading the next week. I'll review our financials and review our company KPIs on Fridays. It's a great way for me to wind down, film all my content for the next week. And usually I'll try to stay 2 weeks ahead and then kind of wind down the week, so I go into the weekend with a clear head. Thursdays for me are community days. So community days in the mornings, I have every single morning of the week besides Friday, I have 4 to 6 hours of blocked off creative work time where I'm just focusing on a project to hire a system, a process, something high leverage. That's usually just me, headphones on at my computer, working through it. So Thursdays, that's what I'll do in the morning. Then I'll have community calls. So with my coaching groups, I'll do community calls. And then in the afternoon, I'll do coaching calls with a break in the middle of the day for lunch, or I'll go to the golf range or something like that. Wednesdays, pretty much I call them off days when it comes to calls. So I don't really take calls on Wednesdays unless it's super urgent. Except for Wednesday morning, I have my 4 to 6 hours of creative work. I'll meet with our CFO, and then I will take a lunch, and then I'll come back and I'll have more creative work in the afternoon, or I'll have an urgent meeting or something if needed. But Wednesdays for me are kind of the flexible day in the middle of the week. Tuesdays are company calls days, where I have our company calls with our leadership teams. So those normally go from about 12 to 2. In the mornings, I still have my 4 to 6 hours. In the evenings, I'll usually have coaching calls on Tuesdays. Mondays are my individual one-on-one direct report days. So I'll normally spend 4 to 6 hours again in the morning on my deep work project I'm working on, and then I'll meet with my downward direct reports at each company. So I'll meet with the president of our call center business. I'll meet with the president of my real estate company, president of our coaching companies, and we'll sync on what needs to happen this week. They'll update me on numbers. We call it Stomp PVF, or they'll update me on systems, technology, operations, finances, everything in one straight shot. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes. And that's essentially my schedule. It's a mix of coaching calls, community calls, deep work, one-on-one direct report meetings, and team meetings, and then obviously filming. But I like to batch it and theme it. It makes it way easier for me to stay efficient and keep my mind focused on one thing. I don't like mixing in like calls within filming. I don't like filming my calls. So, again, it's 3:45 here on a Friday. I'm still at the office filming. I'll probably be filming till 5, wrap up my week, and head home or head to dinner. And I'm always changing it, but that's this general structure I found to work great for me. And I try to only check my inboxes 3 times a day. So I have my chief of staff, which is a fancy word for an executive assistant, who runs a lot of our projects, hirings, and teams, but keeps my inbox organized, my Slack organized, so I can spend 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes in the evening, just clearing out my inboxes with high priority stuff. And it's worked great for me. So as always, you guys, a quick Q&A episode here, hitting on 4 or 5 things that are themes and questions that come up a lot. Hope you got value out of it. Again, as always, we don't put paid ads behind the show. It only grows through word of mouth, and we don't sell anything on here, and we're not promoting anything. So if you can refer a friend, a family member, whoever sharing your story, leave us a review. It means the world. It helps a lot. DM me. I do read DMs. I like seeing what you guys like or do not like about the show. And as I always say, until next time, you're only one deal away.